Welcome to Crowded Market Report by Jason Shapiro. If you want more from Jason, subscribe to Crowded Market Report and get access to the CMR community, weekly reports, charts, and other exclusive content. Learn more at www.crowdedmarketreport.com or click on the link in the right corner.
All right, next question relates to news failure with small speculators still on the wrong side. Do you have any examples where you took on a trade even though small speculators, if we exclude equity since they have their own process of waiting for commercials only, but as far as small speculators, would you ever consider not worrying about them and taking the trade if large speculators are crowded enough?
Would I consider? I consider it all the time. But I try very hard not to do it. Spend all this time backtesting. Look, we backtested commercials only. We backtested large specs only. We backtested small specs only, right? And for the most part, what we found was small specs only, they were the worst, but there was value added by adding those other people on there, right? I believe, don't quote me, but I believe what the process said was that you get a higher number of profitable trades if you just fade small speculators, but you get a lot more profit out of those trades if you're waiting for the large speculators to join them, right? Which would make sense, right? Because clearly the positioning of the large speculators is a lot bigger than the positioning of the small speculators. So if the thing's going to run, then it's going to run harder if all those big guys have to get squeezed out, because that's the money coming in. Small speculators often have a weird, not always, but often have a weird habit of buying all the way down, and then as soon as it rips back up, they sell, right? That seems to be, in general, in very general terms, their habit. Whereas large speculators tend to be more trend following, which is they're selling all the way down. Right. And then when it turns and then it rips, and they're getting stop. So the combination has really been the best way. And we've seen, I keep saying 2023 is the year of this never happened before. And we see it in so many different things. Right. People are talking about this all the time. We've never had 3 years of a down move in bond markets. Well, guess what? Unless something happens in the next 2 months, we have now, right? You've never seen this kind of move in the 60-40 portfolio. Well, you have now, right? And there's so many other things. I just keep hearing this as a vibe across so many things this year. And that's also true in the COT. I have never seen so many times where a market shows commercials at 0, large specs at 100, but small specs at 0. And the opposite, commercials at 100, large specs at 0, but small specs at 100. I've never seen this happen. I can't even remember it almost ever happening. And now it's like happening all over the place. Why is that? I have no freaking idea. Is it because so many more speculators came in since COVID? So many more sort of small specs got involved in the market since then? Maybe. I can come up with a million theories, but it is what it is. So am I supposed to change what I'm doing because of that, because of the changes in the market? I don't know. But again, I always go back to just, is what I'm doing working? And I'm having a good year, so I'm not going to change anything, and that's the key to all of this, I think, too, is consistently monitoring your returns, your actual returns, versus what something like a back test has told you should be expected returns. Right? Consistently monitoring that in order to decide if something's gone wrong here, and do I need to maybe think about making some changes, right? But to this point, knock wood, nothing has gone wrong. It's been, if anything, this year has been one of the better years that I've ever had on a return to risk basis. So I'm not going to change anything. If it keeps me out of trades, it keeps me out of trades. So what? Like I always say, all it takes is 5 or 6 trades a year for me to have a really good year. So, I know that, and I've missed a couple this year. I could have been fucking having a massive year this year if I didn't miss a couple of these trades, but so what? It is what it is. I'm not going to cry about it. You move on and you try to get the next one.
Subscribe to Crowded Market Report by Jason Shapiro.